Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you that Camille is your ticket to Diamond. Camille is one of the most fun champions to play in the game. She also has a very high skill ceiling with insane outplay potential, and in this guide, we're going to go over her abilities. I'll also add in some high elo tricks on how to use them the best to surprise your opponents. We'll also look at her strengths and weaknesses, and finally, I'll end it with my 3 biggest tips to carry on her in your games. Also, YouTube tells me that only a small percentage of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed to the channel, so if you do enjoy the video, don't hesitate to subscribe. But before we get into this Ticket to Diamond video, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Instincts. Instincts is an amazing company that makes high quality blue light glasses. As gamers, we have a lot of exposure to artificial light from our computers, phones, and other screens, and we especially get this exposure late at night. This can cause headaches, eye strain, and also cause us to sleep less and have less quality sleep. Lately, when I'm done playing video games at night, or even working on a video like this, it takes me a long time to fall asleep because my body just isn't ready for bed because it thinks it's still daytime. This is where blue light glasses come in. They filter blue light exposure to reduce headaches and eye strain while also improving your sleep. A recent study conducted by the University of Houston found that participants that wore blue light glasses increased their nighttime melatonin levels by 58%. But the cheap pairs of blue light glasses off Amazon don't do much to protect your eyes because all they have is a tint. The glasses Instincts makes has protective lens coating technology to actually filter out the blue lights. They even double down on this by doing a specialized blue light test before shipping out their glasses. So guys, I highly recommend that you check out Instincts and get a pair of their glasses. Their link will be in the description below, and you can also get 20% off by using the code Snowta20. Guys, Camille is tearing up solo queue right now. All of the information in this video will be timeless, barring any major rework, but I have to say that if you're watching this video close to its release, you need to be picking or banning her in your games. Some pro players are even running TP and Ignite on her. Not saying you should do that, but it is something that you can try if you're into that kind of thing. Camille's passive is Adaptive Defenses. Periodically, Camille's next basic attack, this includes her Q by the way, will give her a shield for either physical or magic damage depending on the damage style of her target. This is what makes Camille so great at short, bursty trades, because she can tank damage from her opponent and then dish out her own damage before her shield runs out. Her passive also synergizes really well with the rune's Shield Bash, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Camille's Q is Precision Protocol. Camille's next basic attack gains a little bit of range and deals bonus damage while giving her a speed boost. She can recast this ability right away with the same damage, or if she waits 1.5 seconds, can recast the ability to do double damage, with some of that being true damage. This is a great auto attack reset as well, and can and should be used after an auto attack to maximize the amount of DPS you're getting off. This is Camille's bread and butter ability, and when paired with her passive can do some crazy burst damage. And if you get a lead, this will one-shot squishy champions as a bruiser. Just imagine this. You've completed your Sheen item, you have your Shield Bash up with the Grasp proc ready, and you Q a minion to prep your second Q for the double true damage. And then bam, you get your second Q off with your Sheen proc, with your Grasp proc, and with your Shield Bash bonus damage because it activated your shield. This is a crazy amount of damage and is so utterly satisfying when all of this comes together. I was really worried that the new item reworks would dethrone Camille, but nope, she's right there on the throne where she belongs. She is the definition of a 200 years champion. Insane damage, crazy snowball potential, and high mobility, giving her escapes and tons of outplay potential. Camille's W is Tactical Sweep. You've probably all experienced this in lane if you played against her. It's not a crazy ability, but it can be very, very annoying because when you're hit by it, you take damage and you're also slowed, and at the same time she heals and then can run away winning the short trade. So yeah, use this to poke in lane or to slow your enemy. Just a quick little tip to win your lane at level 1 is to use an auto attack to proc your Shield Bash, Grasp, and auto damage, and maybe even do a second auto to take some more damage after your shield drops. Then after all of this happens and all of it's over, you can use your W to heal a little bit and do more damage. This will halve your enemy's HP and get you ready for a juicy level 3 all in. And also, Camille's W works while moving and flying through the air with her E, but I'll mention the specifics of that in a moment as I talk about all of her E interactions. Camille's E is called Hookshot. This is the ability that allows Camille to be extremely agile and slippery. It can be used to escape or to engage fights. I really don't need to explain how this works. Hop into a practice tool and figure it out. This is just an ability that you have to learn kinetically, but here are a couple of tips on how to use her E well. Her E will stun for 0.75 seconds, which can allow her to get out of a lot of scenarios or set up some kills. This ability is actually actually the #1 reason why she wins the Jax matchup, because if Jax jumps on her with his E spinning around like a helicopter, you can simply E him and walk out. You should also try and play close to a wall or tower whenever possible so that you can recast your E as soon as possible, making it hard to dodge. If you throw your E from the middle of the lane, your opponent will have plenty of time to start walking away from that wall, making it easier for them to dodge. You can also flash out of your E to hit it instantaneously and increase its range. If you're trying to catch up to a fleeing champion or you want to surprise them so that they can't dodge it, you can flash during the second half of this ability to apply the stun instantly. This is a must-learn combo and will help set up the fast combo I'll talk about in a second. You can also pair Camille's W with her hook shot. It can be cast during any portion of her E and can be suitable in a couple of different situations. The most likely is that you can use this to extend a slow on your opponent if they are too far away to hit with your E. After hitting this, you can use your Q and ultimate to finish them off. You can also cast this during your E to make it harder for them to dodge by slowing them, but this is less reliable and takes a lot of practice, so it's not the best combo, but you can try it out if you want to. And finally, let's talk about her fast combo. Remember when I talked about the amazing combination of items, runes, and abilities on her? Well, imagine all of that coming together in a bundle of glory. This can be as easy or complex as you want, but in essence, what you do is Q a champion or minion close by, then E flash second Q on your opponent. This will trigger Sheen, your runes, and your second Q for a ton of burst damage. Plus the damage from your E and W if you choose to add those in as well. This is also a must-learn combo because it can net you a ton of kills in close 1v1 scenarios. Camille's ultimate is called Hextech Ultimatum. This is Camille's 1v1 zone. They decided to make Mordekaiser's cooler, but before this rework, this was Camille's way to secure a 1v1 on her terms. This will also interrupt channels, so if your opponent's trying to TP or do something else, you can hop on them with your ults and cancel it. The zone lasts for a couple of seconds and adds bonus magic damage to her basic attacks. This ability is pretty straightforward, but I do want to mention that you can animation cancel your second Q and your ultimate for a quick combo. Also, this ability will briefly isolate your target by knocking away all other enemies, so using this in a team fight can allow you to briefly isolate a squishy target. Great, with all of those juicy abilities out of the way, let's first talk about Camille's weaknesses before getting into her strengths and other tips to carry. Camille's first weakness is her mobility can get you into bad situations. If you use your E to engage on an opponent, you have forfeited your mobility and are susceptible to getting 2v1 or 3v1 if you didn't properly weigh the situation or you just took a random blind engage. This can happen most often in lane if you just use your E flippantly without properly identifying the jungler's whereabouts before engaging, so be mindful when you use this ability. Also, if you just fly in with your E without hitting your stun, you can easily get kited. And look to see if you have your W or your ultimate up, and if you don't have either of those, probably don't go in because you're just going to get kited. Camille's second weakness is that she loses all in fights early in the game. Now, this isn't always true. Sometimes she can be in a good spot to completely 100-0 someone, but if she's going even in lane, it is much less advantageous to go for an all-in than it is to go for a short trade, so that you can try and burst them down for a kill later. This is because without Trinity Force, Camille's auto attack speed is pretty slow, so you need to mask this by going for short, bursty trades with your E and Q, and look to poke and sustain with your W. If you do get Trinity Force, this changes a little bit because it allows her to auto her targets to death if her abilities are on cooldown, and it adds more damage to her ultimate because her auto attack speed is higher, allowing for more basic attacks to apply that magic damage. Camille's third weakness is that she's just a difficult champion to play. Camille is probably one of the most difficult champions to play in the game. She also has the ability to literally 1v5 your games if your movement, spacing, and combos are on point. Plus, if you get behind on her, she doesn't have much to offer and will just get blown up. If you guys watched my first beating League of Legends video, I played against Camille twice and just counterpicked her with Malphite, rendering her utterly useless in the game. Now, this was kind of her jungler's fault because they should have ganked me twice pre-6, but because she used her E randomly and I was the one that got ganks, we got her very far behind. So if you decide to pick up this champion, make sure you spend time in normals and in the practice tool really learning and understanding everything about this champion. And not just her combos, runes, and build, but also how to play the game through her. She's a great split pusher and also a great team fighter, but the needs of your team and maybe your win condition can be different depending on the current game state. Your team comp and the enemy team comp can also play into this, so make sure you watch some VODs of professionals playing her to kind of gauge what decisions to make in different scenarios. Great, now let's talk about the fun stuff, Camille's strengths. A second ago, I mentioned that in my beating League of Legends series, I should have gotten ganked twice before I was level 6 as Malphite, and the reason I say that is because Camille has amazing gank setup. Her E and her slow are great gap closers and CC to help your jungler gank. Plus, she doesn't need a lot of autos or time to set up her damage because she's very bursty, so having burst and CC makes it so easy for your jungler to gank you. This being said, if you are playing in low elo, you should not rely on ganks to get yourself ahead, so make sure that you're tracking the enemy jungler and taking advantage of your burst for advantageous plays. Camille's second strength is her low cooldowns, which makes her incredibly snowbally. Camille's base abilities are already on low cooldowns, but paired with the ability haste in her items, she has some very low cooldowns late in the game on her E and Q, allowing her to one-shot multiple targets in a given fight and just fly all over the place. This makes it so amazing if you get ahead because her high mobility and her high damage allow her to 1v5 by slowly one-shotting all of her opponents. Camille's third strength is that she is a split push monster while also being a great team fighter. This allows Camille to have a ton of versatility in the way she plays the game. And if you're pushing a side lane, you can flank into a team fight, and because of your E and ultimate, you can surprise the opposing team by jumping on them and one-shotting them out of nowhere. However, like I mentioned earlier, make sure you take the time to learn the best way to play her in different scenarios and how to use her playstyles in tandem, like flanking into a team fight and using your teleport. Also, a quick little bonus tip, you can also flex Camille into the mid lane. If you do this, I recommend that you take the rune Hail of Blades. One of my other friends in Diamond swears by this. This is not a professional recommendation, but again, look into it if you're into that kind of thing. Camille's first tip to carry in solo queue is to call for early ganks because of your setup and hyper snowballing capability. If your jungler is on the same page and coming for a level 3 gank, let the wave push to you by letting your lane opponent auto more than you do. Then you'll be close to your wall and be able to hit your E and W to slow them and stun them, and you're almost guaranteed to get a flash if not a kill. If you aren't getting ganked at level 3, evaluate the ganking style of the jungler you're playing against to see if you can get the advantage by yourself by slow pushing, or if you need to let the wave push towards you. If you're playing against, say, a Shyvana, then try and get all the advantage that you can in lane because she has no CC and prefers to power farm her jungle. But if you're against Shaco or Lee Sin, let the wave come to you and only last hit so that you have a lower chance of getting ganked. Second tip to carry is to split push with your advantage and flank into team fights. You can force some great team fights with your team if you just flank into the fight. I would also recommend trying to be at every dragon and every baron fight. Your team will 4v5 without you, so make sure that you're there to even out the fight. And also make sure to identify whether you need to peel your ADC in mid laner or if you need to dive the back line and kill the opposing ADC. Figure out which one has more peel and which one is stronger, and then make your best decision based on that information. Tip number 3 is to farm and play patient. Camille can allow you to be hyper aggressive and fly into every fight that you want, but know that Camille scales incredibly well into the late game. So if you can't find an advantage, or maybe you even fall behind, play patient and try to get your important item spikes. One of the best ways that you can help your team is just to stop the bleeding and just survive and help in fights the best you can. Don't ego trade or ego fight and end up going 0-5, seeing that there was nothing that you could do. Stop the hemorrhaging, join your team, and win even while behind. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.